So I recently went to go see Blue Beetle, which is the first movie of James Gunn's new DC universe about a Latino kid named Jaime Reyes who encounters upon a alien blue scarab, which gives him the suit to become a superhero. And now he has to fight to protect his family from the people who's trying to take back the scarab for evil. That's pretty much all I can say for spoiler-free review, but now let's get into what I liked about it. I'll start off with the suit and CGI. Obviously, the suit is really cool, and I like how the suit looks more practical in a lot of scenes, even with some of the CGI involved. And speaking of CGI, the CGI is actually pretty good in here, especially for a $120 million budget movie. Because, usually superhero movies are kind of more expensive than that, at least now they are. Because here's the thing, this movie was actually intended for streaming at first, along with Batgirl before that one got canceled. And that was back before the whole James Gunn thing, so yeah. The only complaints I have for the CGI is that it does look a bit off in a few shots here and there, but mostly it's pretty good for my standards at least. Plus Kaji, the little android voice in the Blue Beetle suit, I think that's the name. It's pretty similar to MCU Spider-Man with Peter and Karen, if you remember Homecoming. It's just kind of nice watching Kaji and Jaime talk for a little bit, even if it was only for like the action scenes and stuff, but there's even this like one part where she starts to speak a little Spanish too, which is kind of funny for me because Jaime's family and everything, they speak Spanish, so it was kind of funny that she catched on too. Those scenes between her and Jaime are like scenes where Karen and Spider-Man are just like hanging out in the warehouse, just talking to each other and stuff, you know what I mean? And speaking of family, the relationship between every family member and Jaime feels so natural. They work together, they laugh together, they share love for each other. It's something refreshing to see in a superhero origin movie. The other thing, Blue Beetle is actually the first Latino superhero to ever make it on the big screen, and the Latino representation in this movie is actually pretty good. It doesn't feel forced at all, to be honest. There are references in this movie, like to some Mexican shows or movies or whatever, some Spanish spoken humor that you kind of get along to, or even as much to playing a couple of Spanish songs in there. And as for the action, it's actually pretty good. And it's not entirely just fist punching and like the power moves superheroes do and stuff in regular movies. Because in here, there's actually some karate type stuff in here too. And as for me, that's actually pretty cool to see because the actor playing Jaime is named Zolo Maradona, and he's the actor for Miguel in the Netflix show Cobra Kai. If you haven't seen Cobra Kai yet, it's a really good show. I highly recommend watching it. And the final season comes out next month, I think. But then again, with the whole writer strike, I don't know. Hopefully, it's not delayed. And if you want to watch Cobra Kai, though, you would have to go and watch the original Karate Kid trilogy so you get the whole picture. But it's not about Cobra Kai, though. This is about Blue Beetle. But I think you get the whole picture, though. It seems like Zolo wanted to do some karate type stuff like he does in Cobra Kai into here. And that was really cool to see. Plus, I think the director even got influence from the Injustice games to put in some of Blue Beetle's combo moves in there. So that was also cool to see, too. But yeah, the action's overall pretty good. The combo move type karate stuff sequences are actually pretty good, and the fights are good. And honestly, the final fight might be the best fight. Honestly, well, usually that's the best fight in all superhero movies, but I think you get the point. And as for the comedy, it's actually pretty good, especially because of the family and George Lopez in it, and mostly a lot because of the Spanglish spoken humor in here. If you're not Mexican, like, it might not catch on to you, like, at first, maybe. I don't know. I mean, I'm Mexican, so it kind of grabbed onto me a little bit more. But then again, I think you'll eventually, like, get used to the whole Spanish spoken humor and all that kind of stuff. If you're like Colombian, if you're Mexican, if you're Latino, that kind of thing, you'll like this movie. And the Spanish spoken humor in here too as well. Alright, so now we talked about the things that I liked. Let's get into the things I was either mixed about or I didn't like about the movie. I think more or less it just kind of depends on the person you are. If you think that like the superhero origin movies are kind of as like generic, like the same old thing you see in the theater over and over again. Which, I mean, I get it. You want something new. And, this might not be like that, but, it is what it is. It's a new superhero origin movie, and you're getting what you're getting. But mostly I'm the fair person, so I'm not gonna dump on this movie because mostly I'm okay with whenever a superhero franchise wants to put out a new origin movie because, they're trying to introduce a new superhero, and I want to get interested, and I want to be fair to the movies, so, yeah. And mainly I just say that because it might think that the villains are kind of generic. Like the main lady villain, Vivian, she pretty much just acts like the standard sociopathic narcissist who wants to take over the world and will stop at nothing at that stuff. So, you might count that as generic, but honestly, I'm cool with it. Honestly, because if it's not the same old story again, if there's something interesting with the story behind it, then I'm cool with it. I'm not gonna share the story behind it, of course, because this is a spoiler-free review. But I think you get the point here. And something did feel misplaced or odd in this movie. The partner of Vivian that you probably seen in the trailers, the guy that looks like Danny Trejo got jacked or something and came out of Pacific Rim or something. He says in the movie, even in the trailer, so it's not spoilers, but basically he says, the love what you feel for your family makes you weak. Which, yeah, it does seem a bit generic, but there is a lot that goes on in the movie before Jaime starts to say, no, it's what makes me strong. That feels very out of place, especially after this is one scene that just plays out, and then you see the scene play out, and then Jaime just starts saying that line, and it just feels so out of place. Like, Jaime, you should have said that sooner, or something. At least a couple of parts in the movie would have made it funny. Why? And I don't know if it's because I tried to rush into the theater while trying to get my drink, but I feel like the beginning felt like a bit fast paced. I guess not entirely, but only like a tiny bit, I guess. Like maybe chill a little more, like a tiny more with the family, and then we get to Jaime becoming Blue Beetle and everything. But that's just my little nitpick, I guess. Maybe it was just because I was trying to get in there quickly. So for Blue Beetle, I'm gonna give this movie an 86% on the bruh score. This is a great movie for the new DC universe. I know I also gave the same rating for The Flash, but I haven't rewatched it since it came out, so I might have to do that. And I'll probably give an update on whether the score for that movie dropped or not in the comments below. But I do remember enjoying them at least the same amount, though. Also, there are two post-credit scenes in the movie. One is so that way you can look forward to something in the future of the new DC universe, and the other one is just for a laugh. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up my review. I highly recommend watching it in theaters. You'll have a good time. That's going to be it for the video, though. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and follow me on Twitch if you can. The link will be down in the description below, and I will see you guys next time.